Hey, it's Sam, and I'm talking today about Mula Nakshatra and its relationship to the sign Sagittarius. Deep uprooting of the darkness from Scorpio, preparing to align it with hope. So check this out. So the nakshatra of Mula is one of the most intense and dynamic and transformative in the zodiac. And of course, this is the sidereal zodiac anchored to the stellar portions, the timeless, universal, and stellar portions. In every astronomical and astrological tradition, this plane of the galaxy, which is what Mula is extremely important. It's literally the galactic core, where there's enormous amounts of destruction and transformation, and of course life itself, because our star, the sun, came from the galactic core, from our galaxy, as everything sort of emanated from that galactic core. And actually the radiation and X-rays and whatnot that emanates from that section of the galaxy would be quite destructive if it weren't for our heliosphere, which is the influence of our sun protecting our solar system from the the gamma radiation and the radiation from the galactic core. So this is Mula Nakshatra, and of course this is the stellar connection that we have in Vedic astrology, this purely sidereal zodiac system. Now this is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is of course, it's actually either what you might call a centaur, which is half man, half horse, or even perhaps a man riding a horse. But it's that Dhanu, it's called Dhanu Rashi, which means bow. And it's that aim and that trajectory where our beliefs and the things that inspire us, our teachings, our gurus, give our life a focus, give it a trajectory, keep us on track. And of course we always see karma. One of the most famous ways to understand karma itself is with the archer and the bow and the arrows in the quiver and whatnot. So so there's a story where karma is said to be like an archer and like who is about to shoot an arrow or who has shot an arrow. The arrow that has just been shot is the karma from the past lives. You can't pull that arrow back. It's already moving and it's going to hit its target, and we're going to feel it. Frankly, the target is us, because the arrow has already been shot, and we're going to feel the effects of that. Based on that arrow that has been shot, that arrow of action through time, through past lives, through this lifetime, the aggregate of that, we're going to experience a moment. And that moment, we're going to have to shoot another arrow, which is like the arrow that the archer is about to shoot, right? The arrow that's already keyed up. Now we have to aim that arrow at something, right? That's like the moment itself. That moment itself is where you have to shoot an arrow, right? And then, which is like every moment, you have to then decide where you're going to aim, right? And then there's the arrows that are in the quiver, the ones that have not been shot yet, and that's the future, right? So the past is the arrows that have already been shot. The present is the arrow that you're aiming now. And the future are the ones in the quiver that you still have to take out, right? So these teachings in Sagittarius, which is literally the Dhanu Rashi, or the bow Rashi, the first section of it is Mula. Mula Nakshatra, which means root. It also means uproot. By the way, it's really funny, now I hear everybody say uproot. I never heard anybody say uprooting like 10 or 15 years ago until I started saying it. Not saying I'm taking credit for it, but kind of am. No, I never heard anyone say uproot before, but that's what it is. It's this uprooting. And what it's uprooting is the vulnerability, darkness, struggle of Scorpio, the previous sign. You see, at these fire sign junctions, at these points of fire in the zodiac, we experience a deep sort of chasm between the previous water sign and the next fire sign. And this, especially between the Jeshta point in Scorpio and the Mula point in Sagittarius, there's a lot of potential turmoil. These are called the Gandanta points. Every astrological text describes the Jeshta Mula Gandanta, the Aslesha Magha Gandanta especially, but also the Revati Ashwini Gandanta, which is the point between the water and fire signs and how they're extremely unstable. And so Scorpio is the sign where we have to face our emotional vulnerabilities and stress and pain and fear of losing our foothold in the world. It's like the terror, realizing that, oh my God, I am actually going to die. There's nothing I can do. I have no control over anything. This is the terror of the Scorpio mindset. Because Scorpio is where we're trying to stabilize our emotions. It's a fixed water sign. And underneath it all, we have no control. We can't stabilize anything external. We can only stabilize what's internal. I'm talking about this because at the end of Scorpio, we have Sagittarius, and that first nakshatra is Mula, where we need to uproot that paranoid feeling and plant seeds of wisdom, truth, eternal joy from the great masters, things that are related to Sagittarius, and this hope, inspiration, and purpose. Because in Scorpio, our mind and our emotions can overwhelm us and destroy us. And so you have to understand that the zodiac is a mandala of evolution. It's an evolutionary mandala. Whether you got a planet in Scorpio or not doesn't matter. It's this evolutionary purpose. Everyone has the fear of death and trying to control themselves, trying to control situations because of their fear of loss. Like a mother trying to control the entire world so that her child never dies. No mother or parent ever wants to admit that one day their child is going to be dead. One day everybody they love is going to be dead, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's true. And we feel that terror in Scorpio, and we try to control life. But we can't. So again, if we stay stuck in the Scorpio terror, then we just become paranoid and worried and everything, even something like astrology, which is a beautiful life knowledge and wisdom that we're supposed to understand, becomes, how do I control things? How do I get this all? Then we just become paranoid, even about astrology. I see it all the time. So again, the next step after the Scorpio intensity and the Scorpio passion and the Scorpio depth is uprooting the paranoid qualities of Scorpio and planting seeds of truth, love, wisdom. Planting those seeds in Mula. Because Mula is where it all blows apart and explodes, and it's where we become aware of the fact that we have no control. Scorpio tries to control, and the first section of Sagittarius goes, boom, try to control this. Try to control this volcanic explosion. You have no control over anything, dummy. That's what Mula says. You think you have control over something? Ha! Try to control this. Kaboom! Right? So Mula is that chaotic lack of control. And it's related, the ruler is a god or goddess from the Rig Veda called Nirati, which later became akin to goddess Kali. Of course, you want to understand the symbolism as well. This is goddess Kali here in Mula, and opposite that is Shiva or Rudra in Ardra Nakshatra. So you see this, again, this is totally shown by the sidereal power, or the power of the sidereal zodiac in Vedic astrology. Not a single authority ever said that we're supposed to use tropical zodiac that's disconnected from nakshatras. They are deeply connected. Not even deeply connected. They are occupying exactly the same space. Of course, if you now experiment with tropical zodiac, it's way off. You don't have nakshatras and rashis aligned anymore. It just doesn't make sense. So this is why that first section of Sagittarius, before we can connect with those high teachings and that religion and those beliefs that give our life a trajectory and a focus, before we can do that, we need to uproot the darkness and the pain. Otherwise, the things we believe in, which has to do with Purva Ashara, and then that we make a commitment to, which has to do with Uttara Ashara, all of those beliefs will be corrupt. This is why we have a lot of beliefs that are based on all that fear and stress and worry. A lot of our beliefs in Sagittarius are based on a lot of our paranoid fears of Scorpio. This is why, in order for the highest to unfold, we need to uproot the paranoid worries of Scorpio and plant seeds of truth and wisdom. So then the devotion in our heart, which is Purva Ashara, can become a great source of focus and commitment in Uttara Ashara, and then on through the zodiac. So this is how you see sidereal nakshatras and rashis joined, because you see Uttara Ashara is the connecting point between the devotion of Sagittarius and the commitment of Capricorn, etc., etc., which I'll get to. So this nakshatra Mula in Sagittarius follows Scorpio and the Jyeshta Gandanta point to uproot and plant seeds of truth.